Welcome to the Waffle Flower channel. Hi everyone, Katie Gehring here with another Throwback Thursday. Today I'm going to be showing you how I made this magical holiday card using the magical stamp set. I just love that this stamp set is very versatile for birthdays as well as the holidays. And then I'm also going to be using these beautifully intricate lacy flower dies. These are going to look really amazing on the card, especially since I'm going to be die cutting them using some gold cardstock. So to get started, I am going to die cut the lacy flower dies onto a piece of gold cardstock. And because I value efficiency, I'm going to attempt to die cut all of these at the same time. I am using a shim to kind of help with the pressure on these dies. These are super intricate dies. So I find with my machine at least, I do need to run them through a few times in order to make sure that they die cut cleanly. And also the shim helps with the pressure. But once I've done that, you can see here how easily these are just going to pop out using a little pokey tool. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then these are the finished die cuts with the gold foil. And aren't they just beautiful? I love the way that they look. Next, I am going to heat emboss my sentiment using some gold embossing powder. So I placed the lacy flower die cuts onto the card panel just to get an idea as to where I am going to place my sentiment. I am using my MISTI tool to help make sure that I get really good coverage on it, and using a powder tool to prep the surface prior to stamping it with Versamark. I'm inking up the stamp with Versamark and then applying some even pressure onto the lid of the MISTI to make sure that the stamp transfers clean. I'm going to apply some gold embossing powder to the magical sentiment. And one of the little tricks that I've learned over the years is to use a small paintbrush to brush away any stray embossing powder which may be stuck to your card. And then I'm going to apply heat to heat emboss the sentiment. Now I want to add a little bit of a soft blended ink look to the outside border of the card. So I am doing that using Safe Choice ink and a blending tool. And I'm just picking up a little tiny bit of ink with my brush, and I'm starting from the outside of the card and kind of blending inward in a circular motion. I really love the look of ink blending, but it's not something that always comes easy to me. So practice is super important. Just keep doing it and you'll find over time that you get a little bit better. Also, starting from off your cardstock and kind of working your way in helps. And then using a light touch. You can always go back and add more layers of ink and darker ink, but it's difficult to take it away once it hits your cardstock. So definitely start with a light touch and then build from there. I am going to finish up my ink blending, and next I am going to add some gold to the background using this gold Heidi Shine color mist. And I'm just kind of sprinkling that onto the card base. And then once I have done that, I'm going to apply a heat gun to the card so that I can dry that up and don't have to worry too much about smearing my lovely gold drops of color shine. Now I'm ready to adhere my lacy flower die cuts to the card, and I am borrowing a page from Laura Basson's Book of Tricks by using some spray adhesive on the back of the die cuts to adhere them to the card. So this is a really great tip. I just use my spray ink box with some paper towels placed in the bottom to catch any extra adhesive, which will undoubtedly leak through the backs of the intricate dies. And so I'm going to repeat that for each of the dies here and adhere them to my card. So now that all the dies are in place, I'm just going to use some basic hand scissors to trim off the excess. I'm going to save the scraps of the gold dies because I might be able to use them either someplace else on the card or on another project, and they are just so pretty. I hate to throw them away without seeing if I can use them someplace else first. So with that trimming of the shapes, I'm nearing completion, but I'm not totally liking that bottom kind of rounded die cut right there. So I'm going to carefully peel it up and use a little bit of undo to kind of get rid of the adhesive residue, and I am going to scrape that off and try again. I'm going to apply a tiny bit more of that spray adhesive to the back of the die cut and adhere it right there. And remember one of those little scraps that I cut off? I'm going to go ahead and put it right there along the bottom. So now that all my die cuts are adhered, I'm going to go back in with the magical stamp set and just add a few little finishing touches. I've pulled out some gold Delicata pigment ink, which is a really gorgeous gold ink. It does not need to be heat embossed, although it is a pigment ink, so it does have some extra dry time, but it really does carry along a beautiful gold shimmer to your projects. So I've stamped the snowflake a few times, and now I'm going back in with one of the tiny dots that's included in the magical stamp set and adding just a few dots. I noticed as I was doing this, it almost has the look of the gold Heidi Shine color mist. So it's kind of a nice way to cheat the randomness of the mist if that's something that you're not comfortable with. So I noticed here that one of my die cut corners is sticking up just a tiny bit, so I'm going to go back in with some Ranger Multi-Matte Medium and just adhere that down a little bit, and that is looking good. So last step is I'm going to add some pink accents using the Waffle Flower Craft Safe Choice ink, which is the same ink that I used to do the blended edges on the card. So I am finishing up here, and I'm going to adhere the completed panel to a pink note card and call this one done. If you have a suggestion for a product that you'd like to see featured on an upcoming Throwback Thursday, just leave me a comment here or on the Waffle Flower blog. Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook for more creative ideas. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great day.